Thank you very much. Yes, it's the Titans of Atlanta FaZe taking on the Giants of the New York Subliners, making them both seem normal size. But it is a big game for both these two teams, both of them actually coming off loss streaks, Tom.
Yeah, it hasn't looked good for them over their most recent forays onto the main stage specifically, and of course in the online qualifiers leading up to it, specifically for Subliners, who really didn't have a good time when it did come down to the event in Texas. But a good chance for them to bounce back, potentially not the easiest team to bounce back against. Atlanta FaZe will probably be disappointed with their performance in Texas. Did look solid, but ultimately not good enough. When it does come down to it, I mean, you know, Ant is completely right. It has come down to that control, which way this series has went. The last 4 games, or 4 hard points that have went against these two teams, New York Subliners have taken. The last 3 S&Ds, Atlanta FaZe have taken. Both these two teams unbeaten against each other in hard point and search and destroy. The controls have been even. This should still be a close series once again. New York have definitely dropped off, but can they bring something else to the table here up against Atlanta FaZe to kick off Major number 4?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the crazy thing. Realistically, New York going into Major 3, we expect them to be a lot better, but it wasn't to be so. And FaZe also coming third. Maybe a little bit of a disappointment for them too. Let's see how they gear up for their run into Major number 4. I will say this, the players on both teams have some of the most entertaining playstyles you'll watch in the CDL.
aBeZy might be one of my favorite POVs. Just time and time again, on ball with him, just pulling off the seemingly impossible Priestahh. Going down of his boots, and now we will make our way over towards P2 in around 25 seconds or so. But speaking about aBeZy specifically, and well, about hardpoint, both these two teams have lost the last 3 hardpoints they've specifically played. Of course, not up against each other. Fight going on here between Slasher and Skyz. Skyz will come out on top of that one. Simp could do with finding that kill. Hipfire on aBeZy for Simp specifically has been very, very nice recently, but that rotation for Subliners will be equally as good.
And that's what they want to hold now. You can already see Atlanta FaZe looking towards the back, trying to find their way through inside as well. HyDra has pushed out Ambulance quite far. Skyz will win this first point. He knows where Slasher is now. That stunner native coming in, but he's going to go down to it. New York will hold this, but they are worried about the pinch.
Holding has really been an issue for the side of New York. Not this time, though. Really good breaking team when it does come down to aBeZy. The holds have been an issue for them, but with 35 seconds to go, looks like FaZe might be choking this. They might have to. With Priestahh finding 2 big kills, really smart positioning from him. Knows the push is going to come down the parking lot side. Now HyDra can just try and cause issue as best he can in and around this area, to then wait for the rest of his team to get themselves over here. Simp and aBeZy hunting down, as they so often do. 15 seconds remaining on P2. Looking like it is going to go Subliners. Just about. Priestahh will get that scrap time.
This is exactly what they wanted to start off with. There's not many teams that can put Atlanta FaZe into the bin like they have so far. But the setup is mighty. And the New York Subliners find a way through already. HyDra looking for it first, but he finds Simp instead. Skyz will take down the player up top. KiSMET's going to be here as well, and FaZe have thrown this one. This setup was great, but they've just lost too many gunfights. New York are now in a great position to put the pressure on.
Can they do it, though? It's a very linear push, and you're running into Simp inside of Orange. A difficult one to deal with at the best of times. As Priestahh, is he going to try and make his way over towards top ladder? It looks like he's just waiting for his teammates to maybe find some kills. 30 seconds to go. We'll find something over towards the tennis court side. Cellium, though, ready and waiting. We'll find one. Priestahh, the next on the chopping block. Well played from Cell. Can he find the third to lock this down? Bad time with the trophy. Scrap time, New York. 20 seconds to go here. Looking like FaZe will have a rotation over towards P4, though, Bryce.
Yeah, aBeZy just doesn't want to give the scrap time away, and his teammate will get the kill before him. One more fight for aBeZy, but he's weak and will fall before he can do anything else. Atlanta FaZe, again, will have the rotation. Can they find more points than last time? Simp is going to work on the sling. He is here for Atlanta FaZe in stages. But it only really counts if they can find the points.
And I want to say that, you know, we've seen these 2 early rotations to a certain degree from Atlanta FaZe. They've been here in numbers and set up very, very quickly. Their hold percentage on this map is so good. So they've been relying on that working for them. And Simp finding a couple in the mid-map is going to help that hold percentage just rocket on up. 2 kills though for Subliners. Potential break on the cards.
There they go. That's a huge stack. You don't normally see 4 players piled down a corridor. Don't know whether that was a miscommunication or just a plan they had, but they line up. Atlanta FaZe, that is shooting fish in a barrel, but it has been broken just a few seconds as the teams look towards the rotations. And aBeZy may have just caught Skyz napping. He knows he's here.
Oh, that's a big win from Skyz as well, you know, because if aBeZy flings that kill, all of a sudden he's inside of Laundry. You've got to then turn around if you're subliners, allowing that pressure that is currently being put onto Atlanta FaZe. It would have been completely negated. They would have been able to find a way through. It's a big kill from Skyz. Sound cues OP. KiSMET and Cool found themselves still in the lead of this map in particular, but it's looking a lot prettier. Only around 60 seconds ago. Still, good hold so far. 4 dead for the side of FaZe. No way through just yet.
Skyz just going to hold them off here as well. Atlanta FaZe have no map control. They have no way of even contesting the hill at this point. Eventually, they get the spawn coming up, ambulance as well. This will be a linear push from them as they just pile into it as well. KiSMET's going to have to back them up as they're already through. Simp flies into the point. aBeZy gets KiSMET as well. And that is surprising. I thought New York would be able to shut that down a little bit better.
And that's a good 20 seconds. That for New York, the first 40 are completely uncontested. 1 kill falls the way of FaZe and they swarm on them. It's always nice to have Simp and aBeZy on your team because you can't literally just fly in anyone. The 2 of them working synonymously. And there you go. It's a good first rotation of hills out in New York Subliners, but I think after their initial lead, they'll probably be a little bit disappointed, only to be about 10 ahead.
You are correct. This game's still very finely balanced between these two. Atlanta FaZe at the moment not really putting a lot of pressure on a P1. That is giving New York more time than they would have expected. And finally, Atlanta FaZe will get that player off. It's Cellium towards the back, but he will fall as well. New York looking to hold on to this. If they can convert this into a successful P2 rotate, it could be a problem for Atlanta.
It really has been about the rotations of both these 2 squads. We haven't seen too many good breaks. Outside of that one on the final hill on the first rotation from Atlanta FaZe, it really has been about who is here first, is picking up the majority of the time, which is, yeah, how it usually is. But in terms of breaking, it has been good for the side of FaZe. It's been great for the side of New York. Haven't seen a great deal of an example of that so far. HyDra towards the back will get taken down. FaZe looking like they're going to win this road, though, Bryce.
They certainly are. And Atlanta FaZe, while they are behind, they can always fight back. Let's find out how they are feeling, though. For the FaZe, listen in.
Yeah, front side. He's not peeking me.
I'm pitching you still.
He's on your truck. He's on your truck. Gas on me. Stop PD. Get live on the gas, guys.
All time, shot.
Nice one.
That's our time. Mid time.
One's laundry pitching you.
Watch your pitch.
I just want PD, bro.
I'm mid. We can work mid. Once gets spawn P1. Pinch dead.
I'm working on P1.
I think P1.
Yo, defense. One in hill.
What?
Defense dead. Alright, they're middle right now. Just stay alive, Paco.
I'm
rotating you. Mid-side Tetris. Absolute. Yeah, I'm going down.
Stay down.
I got your mid. Yeah, that's one. He's above me, guys. What's going on? P1, sit on. Let's fucking go.
Watch out, alley going again. I'm standing mid.
Ali dead.
Nice, dude. Simp is in you guys, I'm pretty sure. Heard you. Yeah, he's on the heady.
Old,
Spawn P1, I spawn P1. Old, one shot. That's one going court.
I take time. You're good. Top.
Court right now. He's weak. He's weak. Old laundry mate? No, never mind.
I got name.
Sign up.
That guy's weak.
Two sign. One more sign, I think.
Nice, he left. Spawn gas. Spawn P1.
Bottom orange.
Nade hill. That's one, guys.
Bottom orange on me.
In hill, weak. I'm coming bottom orange with you.
Bottom orange. Two sign.
First sign.
AC up to it.
I'm the ladder, right? Bottom orange.
I'm blocking blue. Ladder dead. I'm blocking blue, guys. They're gonna take her out. On me. Sign. Low ladder.
Bottom orange then.
One more ladder. Last guy ladder. Yo, gas on me. I hear him.
Orange. That way.
I'm getting naded, guys.
Afro, you fuck up.
All time. aBeZy.
Good job. Get kills. We're good.
That's one on me.
That's one bottom blue.
That's one peeking. I got your bottom orange.
Well, there we go. Subliners this time with the comms. But let's actually go and listen to Atlanta FaZe this time with their own. Listen in.
Orange on you, one shot.
Near mid.
Already go, KiSMET. He's not peeking. He's still not peeking.
Yo, back gas. Press.
I'm trying to get the back. I'm trying to get the back here.
I'm initial.
Turn on the back.
I picked you cross. Stop.
No, he's on center stand.
I don't see him side door. He's there. Alright, Jesus, beat him.
I'll do it.
Watch out, close.
I spawned the back. I'm trying to get the back.
They went hold. They all went hold.
That's him.
Three holes.
He close back on mid. No more mid desk, weak.
Yeah.
Alright, all good.
I spawned sign.
Yeah, I'm back there.
Yo, one's halls and one's gone.
I'm trying to come left with you.
I'm back there now.
I'm back, don't check KiSMET. They push out?
He's right there somewhere.
I don't see him.
You went out. No, P2, he jumped out.
I'm down for you.
Ready to go?
Gonna sign my shit. I'm seeing chairs. I'm looking at chairs. He's not chilling chairs. Chairs dead. Nothing left, goes left. Goes left chilling. He's push right now. Go straight in chairs. Trying to go near.
Got him. Nice, good up.
I think they're near you. I think this one's near. I spawned back. I don't know. They're spawning mid or late. Orange.
Well, the comms are flowing for FaZe, but the points are not. Subliners well within lethal range, and they have the rotation ton.
Yeah, looking really, really nice. It was so much better from 2 to 3 for Subliners. Yeah, okay, it's been typical Atlanta FaZe as we headed back over towards PD. But now into the kitchen. Can Subliners finish this one off, and can they find themselves in the lead? Priestahh, HyDra finding the kills. It's getting a little bit risky now for FaZe. They need to do something shortly.
They're waiting for it, but they have managed to find it as well. They get the trades. Somehow holding it down. They waited so patiently to get into that point. But they have managed to break it. And it will not allow New York to win at this point as aBeZy tries to hold orange as well. There is a glimmer of hope here for FaZe. A potential and an opportunity. But it is still a long way to go.
And Subliners really haven't kicked in the gear. They haven't really wanted anything to do with kitchen by the looks of things. They just can't get past aBeZy and orange. It's 4 in a row from him. It's every single second of that scrap time. Not going to quite go over towards FaZe. There's a few seconds left remaining. Subliners trying to find a route through, but the P1 is what we're going to be talking about now. And if you look at Atlanta FaZe, the position that they're in, they can pick up some good time here. Top toilets is all you're going to watch. You're going to win your gunfights in the middle of the map. You should be looking good.
What?
You didn't see him?
They didn't see him. aBeZy is running around this map like a madman, desperately trying to find as many kills as he can.
There's 6.
He's found the cruise missile, but he will fall. Simp will get the point. Nobody going near P1. Nobody wants to give away that position and get wiped off this map here. They know this balance is on a knife edge.
And neither team's really gained position of where you need to be if you want to lock down that P1 time, but a couple of kills going to come in for Subliners. 10 seconds away. FaZe are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, they're calling in the cruise, but they still need to get here. There's going to be a trophy down on this point, almost guaranteed. Cellium will find it in Skyz. He's going to get away with it as well. KiSMET will find the kill. 5 seconds left. FaZe have to commit to P1. They cannot afford to just give it away either side, but they will. They go in for it as well, but HyDra wins on the P1 kill on the point. HyDra, he's going to do another challenge, another HyDra. He falls to Cellium, but they're already here on the rotation. They've done just enough, New York, surely. Skyz kills 2. 2 points fly in, and New York walk away with it. FaZe were close, but not close enough.
And that's one of those positions when you have FaZe, it's just you're counting on 60s all the way through the game. You're behind from the get-go. And yes, Subliners, you might not have had a lot of luck of holding down that kitchen hill over towards the latter stages of that map, but because you have that lead, because you're so close, you can kind of just play around P1. You don't need to jump on it until you find those kills, and you know that FaZe have to be in more of the preventative attitude. They have to be the ones who are being proactive, making sure that they're staying off it. Whereas Subliners can be there and just react to everything that FaZe are doing. They reacted perfectly every single time. HyDra with the 2 towards the end, not the best map by any stretch of his imagination or his ability. But those 2 kills towards the end of the game seal the deal for Subliners. A big series lead for them to take. That's now 5-0 in hard points up against Atlanta FaZe.
It is the difference between these 2 teams, and yeah, Atlanta FaZe just put themselves in a horrible position. We spoke about this at length. P1 to P2 can be the dagger for so many teams, because realistically on this map, normally you can afford to bleed off some seconds on P1 and say, hey, it's all right, as long as we get P2. FaZe had to keep challenging the point, but also put themselves in worse positions. They couldn't allow the tempo to go to New York, and when they did that, they made some mistakes, they got killed, and basically just were never going to have the rotation. It's a horrible position to be in, because you actually can't play COD the way you would normally play it.
Yeah, I mean, aBeZy's doing a great job here when we're on that transition from kitchen over towards P1. Staying alive inside of orange, but those 2 kills from HyDra pretty much seals it. All of a sudden, you're in no good position if you're FaZe to get over towards P2. New York are taking up a little bit of time over towards P1. They literally need to step foot in P2, and the game is over. Big game from KiSMET, 29-17. Priestahh putting up big numbers as well. And they're 2 of the players who have really come under fire just a little bit. They haven't necessarily been performing to the levels we've seen in Stage 1. Obviously, and Raleigh taking away the trophy. These 2 guys on this team looked so influential. KiSMET does so much for that squad. Priestahh looked like the Priestahh of old. Absolutely frying everyone. He did the same just there, as did KiSMET. Big performance out of them. Map's #1. It's surprising to see HyDra at a 0.65. He's usually a player who can drop big numbers on the map. Didn't need to that time around for Subliners. We'll definitely need to step it up, though, in the rest of the series if they want a chance against FaZe, because we're heading into Search and Destroy that we know how good this Atlanta side are at this map and at this mode in particular.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta FaZe obviously the favourites in the S&D and have been for quite some time. Fortunately, though, Ton, the statistics don't always tell that whole story. If anything, it gives New York a bit of a better hope than some people would be expecting here on Greenberg Hotel.
Yeah, I look, it's one of Atlanta's, well, maybe not their best map, but it's the second worst search and destroy map. Sitting at a 5-3 record for them is probably relatively bad, it has to be said. But I mean, at a 4-4 for New York, they're not necessarily setting any records on this one either. FaZe have started to lose search and destroys. They have started to leak them here and there. I want to say specifically, we'll just check actually. I think it was... Okay, well, okay, they lost one. they lost one of the last, like, 60. But they have shown the opportunity to bleed, potentially. We've seen Toronto look really good against them on one of their better maps, Hotel. Yeah, okay, it's been relatively comfortable as of recent, but it is still not necessarily one of their best. But for all that we can maybe clutch at these straws for New York, it's still Atlanta FaZe, it's still search and destroy. But if you're New York in this situation, smiles all around, you're feeling good. HyDra maybe doesn't look like he's feeling too good, but the rest of the team are smiling anyway, you know?
Yeah, this may be, and we spoke about this before we come into this series will always feel a little bit weird. New York definitely have the statistics with them when we come to the hard point. Atlanta FaZe is always the S&D. I would have loved to have seen an Expo map number 3, just to kind of really throw it in the wrench of which way it goes, but a must win for FaZe. And I'm going to see whether or not New York can kind of bounce back, because taking Atlanta FaZe down at this point will help at least bounce them back for a very disappointing Major 3.
Yeah, I think, you know, it would be a step in the right direction. There's still a lot to be said about their performances over the last 2 majors. I think they need to step it back up, but I think the expectation was set so high. I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning of the season when we seen this roster form, we were like, oh, we don't know how good they're going to be. They surprised everyone at Major 1 and how good they looked. The last 2 majors is kind of what the way we thought it was going to go originally at the top of the season, but after that performance in Raleigh, you have to be able to bring that level on every occasion, but things are just a little bit out of sync, or have been at least over the past couple of months. Not in that map number 1 though. Really good performance. SMG is doing the job where they needed to, but KiSMET and Priestahh taking over. Can they do it in the search and destroy though? A 2-0 lead for Subliners would be something.
So here we go, the initial breaks. KiSMET making his way forward here, of course. No dead silence for either team in this first round. You can see HyDra as well, very pushed up on the map.
Good shots coming in from HyDra. Really good shots, actually. Priestahh will find another as well, and this is something that FaZe comparatively have struggled with. 51% of the time they are finding those first bloods, but they are number 1 in terms of first bloods on aBeZy, Mikado, and LSilo. Hotel, and has slipped them by just a little bit. Now in a 2 versus 3. Subliners looking to get this bomb down. Not an easy job for Simp and Cellium here.
Cellium might be in a little bit of trouble. Depends who's waiting for him. It's going to be KiSMET. I was going to say, what's he going against the horse, but he's playing a corner. And now he's just going to wait. Simp in a 1 versus 3. It's so difficult to do in kitchen. We know there will be snakes abound. Simp dives straight through and somehow alive for a second, but will be taken down by Priestahh. And New York are first on the board.
Awkward little spot from Priestahh. You're very much expecting to see the top of everybody's heads inside a kitchen, but Priestahh lying in wait in the open. The poor horse.
Yeah, this is something that will be in ranked play soon. So expect to see that in the games coming up if you're playing later tonight.
I haven't seen that, if I'm honest, yeah.
Yeah, but we're also not KiSMET. It's got that dog in him. And no horse. Anyway, moving on to this next round. With Atlanta FaZe, only got 1 kill that entire time, and it was Simp trading out HyDra. Not a great start for them. A lot of pressure coming through, though. New York are here in numbers.
Oh, wow. I mean, they've read it completely. This kill that we're going to see potentially come in from Slasher could be massively important. He's not going to be able to find it. KiSMET finds that. Now, all of a sudden, Atlanta FaZe are stuck in between a rock and a hard place. And with only Cellium and Simp left alive. Yeah, you've got kitchen control. You're all dead. That's it. My word. New York Subliners. Works out perfectly for them. If Slasher can find that first kill, it's a very, very different round. But the pressure they put on from the get-go just read it so well. FaZe down and bleeding right now.
Yeah, that unbelievable from New York. They completely committed. They got it 100% right. And now Atlanta FaZe, this is the thing, right? You talk about Atlanta FaZe, you got to remember they were on a 15 S&D streak until it ended at Major 3. And everybody still expects them to win all the time. New York up 2-0, and we're not saying it's over, but this is a good showing from them so far. Already pressure coming towards the middle here. Simp will get the first blood this time around. And that's bomb down.
First blood for FaZe. We'll find a second as well, so this is looking like a FaZe round, but it almost makes you think, you know, look, they're a fantastic search and destroy team, but we see them find so many first bloods, which is such a huge reason as to why they find these rounds, but when they don't, it is a bit more of a struggle. It's just the fact that they find them so often, Bryce. It makes it a little bit easier, it makes it look easier. Skyz now in the least easier positions. We'll find one onto Slasher, though. No other players around from FaZe to trade that one out, but still a mammoth task for Skyz.
Atlanta FaZe, though, are pretty spread out. Biggest issue will be them for is that they're not in a position to trade anything. Just look at that mini-map. If Skyz can find the 1v1s, they'll be super happy. Unfortunately, didn't get that one, and Bomb is going to be down there as well. 23 seconds left to go. I don't think Skyz can commit, and if he does, he finds the first. It's going to be a trade coming through as well. He wants the bomb. Simp will chow eventually. And FaZe could have given that one away.
Yeah, it's an awkward one. For FaZe, you don't want to commit to the fight. There's not much time left. But if Skyz is going to gun a couple of you, well, you'll have to do something about it. And Simp takes matters into his own hands. And Atlanta FaZe will eventually get around on the board here. There's definitely a weakness. They're not flowing like they have done in Search and Destroy on when you see them play Elisilo or something of the like. They just seem to be like a very much a well-oiled machine on that one. Stuttering just a little bit so far on Hotel, but New York have played it well, getting aggressive, finding those first bloods. They're getting aggressive again here.
There are players waiting on this cross. HyDra is here. Oh, they're all there as well. New York must have read the FaZe playbook because they are fighting them at every point when they take mid-map control. Cellium eventually still alive, looking to see if there's anybody else here. But they are currently outnumbered, and they are starting to wolfpack. They're all going to go the same direction.
I mean, they are just wolfpacking, and Slasher's going to catch them napping. Skyz will fall. Now a 2 versus 2 in New York. You have fumbled the bag here. KiSMET left on his own. Surely he gets challenged by Slasher. And there's the round. New York.
Crazy.
I mean, that's just too linear, though. I understand go around in a wolfpack, but you got to check your corners as well.
I was going to say the biggest issue is when you wolfpack, what you're doing is playing trades. They didn't find any. They had the wolfpack going through reception, and when it fragmented, they were able to pick it up just a bit. They actually threw themselves into a pinch. And New York will not be happy with that. The Atlanta FaZe hold their nerve and get away with it.
Good job from FaZe to bring this one back. I honestly feel like that was not necessarily the best of plays from New York Subliners. Looking like they're actually going to go for a bomb because we've seen very little of this so far. Good snap from KiSMET. Going to need to find the second. Tries to get the util out. Can't quite get it done. Simp to find 2. Not in the best of spots to do anything here. Will back down. As will Subliners. They really did go for that bomb plan, and it's something that's really worked for Subliners on this map. Specifically something that FaZe struggle with as well. When those bombs are down, their retakes are low on the percentage side of things. Not going to have to worry about this time around, though, you would think. 3 versus 2 in their favor.
Priestahh flies out, but will go down to Simp. Skyz tries to make something happen, but it's peekaboo. And eventually will fall as well. We were definitely talking too soon. Atlanta FaZe have figured it out.
And they're just matching aggression with aggression here. New York have been happy to just send it down the middle of the map for the majority of the rounds, and yeah, alright, it might work a couple of times, but Atlanta FaZe are very much reading into it a little bit better now. Simp says, yeah, alright, you want to get aggressive against us? Just remember who you're playing against, boys.
And New York with a great start. Not a great last 3 rounds. Can they find something here on the attack, though? They've been calling it quite correct. They're going to get mid-map control. They've done it again. HyDra straight through the middle.
They've left the bomb.
Bomb left in spawn here for FaZe.
I don't know if that's a big brain tactic. I don't think it is. Because, I mean, it would be wonderful if they had it over towards A right now.
Simp's just running through the middle. He's going to find HyDra as well, but it's a horrible gunfight for him. And FaZe fall. aBeZy will get one back, though. 2 versus 3. And I suppose with bomb being down in spawn, at least somebody can go get it now.
I mean, it would have been a great... This final 35 seconds... This previous 35 seconds would have been a fantastic time to have that bomb, and the subliners are going to be walking through like, oh, wait. Bomb's here. Oh, are they? Did they even see it? They probably wouldn't predict it. HyDra will fall. Cellium chasing Skyz down inside a spot. Skyz needs to stay alive. He's went for the Charles. Cellium will take it. And somehow, someway, Atlanta FaZe are looking like they're going to win this round.
KiSMET, to try and stop Atlanta FaZe, pulling off a 2 versus 4 clutch, has to have his own 1 versus 2. See Cellium gets the first gun, but it's flying and dying. Atlanta FaZe clutch up versus New York. 2 versus 4. And they get it done without bomb. They didn't even have the bomb in their hands.
They should never have won that round. I mean, look, I know having the bomb is a pretty crucial part, but it isn't necessarily the utmost necessity to win a search and destroy round. But if subliners are walking through the spawn there and they see that, kind of just chill on it, right? You can sit towards back stairs if you have somebody spot. Yeah, you're chilling. Lose a couple of gunfights, FaZe win the round. Almost feels like they shouldn't have.
Well, let's see. It has not been good from FaZe in the last subliners in the last 4 rounds. And now they're playing a little bit patient, a little bit of a slow roll. Spread out all across the map to see if anybody from FaZe makes a mistake.
I'd like to see subliners start to try and play for these bomb plants just a little bit more. Atlanta FaZe really do struggle with the retakes on this map. It's a hard map to retake bomb sites on. Albeit, but 19% at 11th is not great, but can they find a first blood? Something they've been known for, not this time. HyDra will find one. Skyz will have to back on down. No bomb plant coming through yet for subliners, but they may well have an opportunity now.
Slasher trying to get in a position, but can he? He might be able to find something here if he looks at the right time. That bomb is going down. Slasher is checking the angles, but he is not seeing the bodies. There goes Skyz. Skyz gets away. The other player's got underneath him. Slasher with just a tiny bit of bad timing and gets gunned by HyDra. HyDra found the second. And Simp left alone on a 1 versus 3, and down he falls as well. But New York, fortunately, find something now. They desperately needed to stop the bleed.
Slasher just gets absolutely eviscerated, and as soon as he shows his face, HyDra, the Vaznev hitting, as well as we often do see it do when it is in HyDra's hands. It's one of those situations, though, when they start getting the bomb down, it's those control positions around that site. It is something that is just a little bit easier to do on that site in particular. Now it's up to New York. Can they defend? Well, they've sent it towards the middle of the map again to try and get some control. No information gain on HyDra, where he's got up to as well. This would be a free push if he went for it, but Slasher over towards the back stairs is ready and waiting. This bomb is now down. It's a 4v4 retake that someone is going to have to try and pull off.
Already Simp's fighting Priestahh in sofas. The rest of New York are not close. They're going to burn a little bit of time as they go for this stack. You can see they're trying to go through it as well. Cellium will be the first one. Finds HyDra, slows them as well. The rest of New York looking to go through reception, but they've got Slasher as well. And he finds the first. They are just bleeding them slowly but surely. It's a 2 versus 2.
20 seconds to go. Got to start making your move, and Simple just play this one nice and slow. You can already see aBeZy making his move up towards top bedroom. KiSMET will trade it. 3 kills in a row for him. He's not going to find the 4th. aBeZy plays his life to perfection. When that bomb is down, you just get bedroom control, and KiSMET just wants to survive. Good luck with that. aBeZy with another. FaZe may well have had a slow start here, but they have not slowed down since they took off after round number 3. It's been all FaZe.
Yeah, New York were too far away there.
Yeah.
And then it was a single hit. Because they lost bedroom control, they weren't confident in going that direction, so they tried to pile through reception. And FaZe, they made the trades. It wasn't magnificent. They didn't wipe the team out, but the trades slowed them down even further. They didn't get beaten by FaZe on that round. They got beaten by the clock.
And what's the plan for subliners? It seems like there hasn't been much of a plan. Majority of the time it's just aggression, the name of the game. HyDra will deal with Simp's aggression, but will then get dealt with himself. 3 versus 3. First blood there for the side of New York. Another one for them as well. KiSMET finding the kill onto Slasher. Potential A plant on the cards.
Oh, has to get away with it, but aBeZy, they've opened it for him, finds the first, finds the second as well before he falls. Down to a 1 versus 1. The bait for aBeZy. And now Priestahh, with his dead silence running out of time, has to make the play.
Feels like he's walking into the lion's den here. Cellium. Has he turned around at the wrong time, or is he just quite happy to chill down back luggage? Yeah, Priestah's seen him. We'll stun it out. He's going to go for the challenge. I mean, he's so loud right now. Cellium will surely be hearing this.
Well, he's just running away with it. Cellium's like, I don't know what he's doing, but this is a good rotation from Priestahh in the end. Oh, he's waiting to see if Cellium comes down. He does see him. Few shots. And gets away. We've got another 45 seconds to play with here, Ton.
And I think Priestahh was just trying to make the noise to try and make Cell come out for the challenge. Tries to read it, but is he going to read this?
And there he goes, back door, fight through at the wall, bang the lay down, but Priestahh snaps and manages to get him. One of the longest 1v1s of all time, but eventually Priestahh does win. And it's those first few bullets in that meant that Cellium had no health remaining.
Just nicely played from Priestahh. Cellium in that position without dead silence, it is a very tough task. Priestahh, as soon as he gets over towards that B site and the bomb is down, already has a pretty decent read on where Cellium is. And as mentioned, no dead silence in that situation. It is a nightmare scenario. So Subliners very much in this search and destroy. I'd like to see them just maybe slow things down a little bit, but I tell you who hasn't slowed down, that's FaZe. This is a 4-man hit over towards B.
KiSMET here. They're going to be here as well. Looks for them as well, but aBeZy dances through him. Skyz has to back off as well. And now a 3 versus 4 on wallbang spot though. Skyz finds him already. Shatters the brickwork, but doesn't shatter FaZe as they still have numbers and bomb down.
I think if you're Subliners, you maybe just forget about Slasher here. You know he's nowhere to be seen. aBeZy now looking to try and hold this down. HyDra will find it from the backside though. And all of a sudden, Cellium needs to stay alive. Slasher on the flank. Atlanta FaZe tie the series.
And as we thought it might be, Atlanta FaZe the better team. There was a little bit of hope there for New York. They made some mistakes going through. That's something in the VOD they will have to look at because there was a potential of taking down FaZe.
100%, a couple of fumbled rounds in my opinion. Especially the one where they kind of just send it through reception. There's so many different spots that FaZe could have been in that scenario, and they certainly were. They found the kills relatively easily. But Subliners had a chance there. It feels like they had a chance to break that streak of search and destroy wins that FaZe now have upon them. That is now 4 search and destroys in a row, alongside the 5 hard points in a row that Subliners have against FaZe. Both these two teams very well matched in terms of the series overall. In terms of the actual modes, it's lopsided one way or another. Hotel controls what's going to be coming up next though. 1-1 between these two teams in the control is the only real thing. We have to regulate them and to see which way the series is going to go. The hotel control could very well decide it.
It really could. And we're kind of expecting an awful lot from both of these two teams as well. It is essentially 2 incredible teams. And Tan, a lot of people are kind of saying, hey, is this going all the way to map 5? What do you think?
I think it could. I honestly, with the way that FaZe have been playing as of recent, if they can step it up here in the control, then okay, yeah, you're heading to map number 4. If you can't win the hard point, you've got a search and destroy coming up. And if it's Atlanta FaZe, you've got every single chance when it does come down to it in a map 5 search and destroy.
It certainly is. All right, well, we're going to go to a break. But before we do that, we actually have a new section here on the CDL. Spotlights is presented by Citadel, our sponsor on Prime Video. You can catch that one out. So here's how this works. Here are the statistics for the pro. You've got to guess who this pro is going to be. There's the statistics, there's the silhouette, and you'll have your answer coming up right after this break. So don't forget, have a go. Spotlights, the new segment by our presenting sponsor, Citadel, on Prime Video. We'll see you right after this.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by the new series Citadel, premiering on April 28th, only on Prime Video.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. When we left you with a little bit of a puzzle to solve here. Of course, it's our new segment, Spylights, which is presented by our new sponsor, Citadel, on Prime Video. We left you with some statistics and a silhouette. Here it is. And Ton, here are the stats.
I wonder who this is. Won his first championship in 2014. I think I was probably still in my 30s at that stage, maybe not quite. 3 COD Champs Grand Finals appearances, 1 championships with 5 different teams. It is, of course, the Little Goat himself, Slasher. I mean, you wouldn't even need to give me the stats, to be honest with you, but, you know, I mean, I argue I should probably know who it is. I mean, we all sort of told, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm enjoying this new segment as well. I want to keep going with it, but we are talking about Slasher currently involved in the current game. And if you are just joining us, Atlanta FaZe and New York Subliners are going head-to-head. It's a tale as old as, well, this season, really. New York win the hardpoint, Atlanta FaZe win the S&D. As we go into the control, basically, who wins this could very well take the series. We'll have to find out.
Well, I mean, I was saying before the break that Atlanta FaZe have got a good chance to, of course, force a map number 5 here. But I tell you what, this is not necessarily the best of reading for them. Yes, okay, 10-9 record. Yeah, that's not that great either. But for the side of Subliners, 8-4, the best defensive team on the game. You're going up against a FaZe side of the last 5 on hotel control are 1-4. Recent form tells you the story that Subliners should be able to take the lead in this series again. But when it comes down to Atlanta FaZe, sometimes stats really don't matter. Let's see how they play.
Well, let's see if these two teams can find a difference in their control. And it's going to be aBeZy already, trying to be super aggressive. And they're making a big point of it. Gotta watch bedroom, gotta watch mid.
And I like that because they actually just push through the middle of the map and all the way through reception. They clear that as well. Now they know that somebody is inevitably going to be behind them because they didn't cut through towards B. So they still do need to clear that bedroom side. The players have done a really good job here actually of retaking this back. Nicely done, but FaZe already transitioned over towards A. Getting a good amount of time here already. HyDra on the flank.
Here he comes, the French Phenom, ready to break everything down. They haven't really got him locked in yet, and already Cellium and aBeZy find 2, but here comes HyDra, and he's going to find 2 himself. Not going to find the 3rd. Atlanta FaZe stay alive at A. I think it's time for New York to give it up.
Yeah, maybe just denying the inevitable there if you are HyDra. Good job. 4-1 to kick things off. For that extra time, it's going to get stuck onto that minute and 2 seconds. It will now be a full, solid 2 minutes. The FaZe to try and find something over towards that B side. Live slightly on the side of Subliners. Setup not too bad either. Keeping FaZe in there, which is important. You don't want to allow them to stretch out. You don't want them to force and mess with the spawns. You want to keep them in over towards A as long as you can. Whittle those lives down as well would be a bonus, and they're doing just that here so far. Only the kill from Cellium is the small amount of respite for the side of FaZe.
And now they've got to make sure that they lock this in. You can already see New York trying to get bedroom control. There's a Simp in the back lines. Can they hold on to it? Slasher, that's actually a really big kill for them as they try to lock down all of bedroom. Skyz is looking for Simp. Simp staying alive. He's pushing their spawns miles away. And everything goes a little bit quiet here as it will be Atlanta FaZe who do not find the kills they need.
And they haven't found any sort of control that they need, although the bedroom spawn is never a bad thing to have. HyDra gets caught with his pants down just a little bit there, but Priestahh is there to just pick them back up. Finds the kills, and now that bedroom control we talk about so often belongs to New York Subliners. It's so important that it remains that way. 50 seconds to go. FaZe not really with the lives to mess with Subliners too much. KiSMET finding that kill as well will slow things down. HyDra with another. They are really covering every single base they need to so far. Bricey looking good for Subliners.
It only takes 1 break though, and they're looking for it. KiSMET, I think he's heard him as well. Gonna win that gunfight. Huge. Still hunting in bedroom. HyDra is gonna be a problem towards the mid map as well. Will fall, but it doesn't matter. 28 seconds left. Atlanta FaZe cannot find any semblance of map control. New York are just winning gunfights in key areas. They still don't have bedroom. They do not have the flank, and with 16 seconds left to go, they don't have the kills or a hope.
Yep, Subliners very much playing with Atlanta FaZe here. Takes 1 good break, but Subliners are not offering even an inch yet. Wonderful, wonderful defensive round. That's going to be 4 ticks for the side of FaZe. A small positive. Not very many kills, though. 16-2 on the lives front when that round ended.
Yeah, and that just couldn't get anything going. Sent Simp on the flank 2 times, and just nothing. They couldn't get bedroom control. I think that was probably the problem.
Yeah, that's always the
problem. Because they were being quite hesitant to get into it, and when they pushed forward to try and get a little bit of pressure onto that B site, they weren't finding the kills either.
And the problem for FaZe now, they're going up against a New York Subliners team who win 70% of their attacks. Slightly leaning towards the attack when it does come down to hotel control and the overall statistic side of things, but 70% is impressive. Very impressive. Oh, if HyDra could have found that, it would have been an impressive way to start the round for Subliners, but they may well have to lick their wounds and move over towards A. But the kills coming in for FaZe, pushing Subliners back, yet to really get a foothold in this round.
Now the FaZe want revenge. They want to give them no ticks at all. But it's a dangerous game covering this much of the map. aBeZy on the flank as well, and this feels slow. It will go down. This is the chance, the opportunity. Only one player standing in the way. Slasher. And it's such a weird round of control at the moment, Ton.
Yeah, I mean, Subliners kind of had a free route over towards B, but finding these kills is easier said than done. Simp, I should say, finding one, can't find the second. Bedroom's been cleared. Opportunity for Subliners.
They've given an awful lot away here. Gonna have to try and back into it. HyDra's also going to be in reception. Cellium staying alive. The rest of his teammates are now flooding behind him, but it's a choke point. It's a horrible way to get through. And now they go for it. Priestahh will find the first slasher, and KiSMET going for the trades as well. Looking for it. Priestahh will find the second. And only one player on the flank. It's aBeZy. Is he going to be the hero they need him to be?
I mean, the boy's good at Call of Duty, but he would do very well to do much about that. That progress is just going up so fast. FaZe throw absolutely everything at it. Are they going to be able to get there in time? KiSMET locks it in. There's 3 ticks on the board, and importantly, it's B. KiSMET goes to the chalice. Well, the snap was good. Not good enough to deal with Cell, though. So, as we head over towards A, a lot of FaZe have set themselves up. Priestahh will be dealt with in the middle of the map, but clearing out kitchen is so important. Simp is here, trying to lock it down. Skyz putting the bullet in. The kitchen spawn coming in for Subliners as well, even when Simp is here. I don't know what to tell you, but here come the rest of the side for a line of FaZe. aBeZy trying to lock this down, finds 2, but eventually Subliners will just about get that control. And with Cellium pushing over towards the bedroom side, Subliners are still spawning the kitchen.
There's so many bodies flooding through as well. And FaZe are on the back foot. They need a flank. They need reinforcements. The trades are still flying through. It's Subliners who are in, but they don't have as many players as they would like. Cellium finds one. aBeZy against KiSMET. It's going to be a snake off. They're all flying into it at the moment, but KiSMET finds another one. FaZe have not managed to regain control of that. First tick is coming through. Slasher is firing.
Big.
Simp finds a second, and they hold on against New York.
Yeah, Priestahh, you don't want to throw your life away here, but he gets great timing onto Slasher. Is aBeZy going to manage to find him? Yes, he does in the corner. Next kills are huge. Cellium will find KiSMET. HyDra is here. 3 lives remaining for Subliners. They have to be perfect.
And Cellium snaking his life away, and he will get HyDra as well. It's a horrible gunfight in the restaurant, but FaZe have held fast. They have got the lives gone down, and Skyz left alone will eventually be traded. But my goodness, what a fight coming through, and everything in that round, from Atlanta FaZe spreading the map, we said it could be dangerous. It allowed New York to get B, but the defense at A, you put Simp, you put aBeZy, you put them in kitchen, and it is a nightmare.
A recipe for disaster for New York, some would say. Really well held down, and the spawns did get a little bit funky at one stage, but then you've seen Cellium over towards that side of the map, maybe expecting a potential flank through mid-map, but he pushed up towards bedroom, forcing Subliners somewhat into the jaws of FaZe, who are ready and waiting in kitchen. A lot of pressure for FaZe to deal with, and deal with it they did. Really good job on the defense by FaZe, and that is not just any team that you've put away on the defensive side of things. You've held your defense against the best attacking team in the game, and now a little bit of pressure here from FaZe over towards the B side as well. No way, Simp! My goodness! Priestahh's getting sent to the Shadow Realm, and now FaZe can start to step on the gas over towards B. aBeZy finds one at the HyDra. It's all FaZe right now.
The thing is, they're just playing their life. They're just trying to farm the kills, because the rest of FaZe currently just sitting in restaurant, having a good snaking time. And now Slasher and Cellium can join the party. But Simp and aBeZy have fallen. 2 minutes on the clock. It's still anyone's game.
A lot of time for FaZe to find a route through. 5 spree for Cellium as well. Could be something to keep an eye on. If he finds that 6th, then maybe, just maybe, there's something on the cards here for FaZe. They will find a kill inside the bedroom as well, and that will definitely tantalize them over towards B just that little bit more. Priestahh finding one over towards the couch as he's being dealt with as well. It's going to have to be pretty linear here from Subliners if they want to take this back.
Well, they've got it. That's going to be 3 straight onto it. All of Atlanta FaZe. They smell the blood in the water. They're jumping on board. They know a flank's going to be coming through. They've got the rest of the cuts down already. Cellium should fly into this one to sack it as well. Priestahh already finds the first. Players now flooding through the middle as well. As the trades go down, Atlanta FaZe are feeling the pressure. And it will be Skyz who jumps in, but he can't find it. And FaZe will hold. They take the attack. And it just came down to 1 wave of kills.
And when you think of FaZe on this map specifically in Control, the amount of rounds, don't know the stats, just this is our feeling, that you see them struggle and all of a sudden it's a 4 dead and you get it. Like, there's so many times, I mean, in that instance, they didn't go down the final seconds, but it's not a slow burner by any stretch. Every single time we see a round 1, the majority of the time, it's coming down to a huge gunfight win that then transpires into getting that point very, very quickly. Thinking over towards B, the amount of times you've seen just a flurry of red on the left-hand side and the enemy team falling, ultimately resulting in a round that goes over towards FaZe. The gunfights from Simp very much helped them on their way. Subliners now need to find an attack, which is something they're very competent at doing if they do want to stay in this Control.
Yeah, it's an adjustment from FaZe as well. They haven't committed all across the map. They haven't really given up B control. You can already see already Cellium is just making sure that nobody goes through. But it looks like FaZe want a little slice of this action. They're actually going to try and go for it as well. That's 3 down straight away. Cellium sprints back over to B, knowing that's where the spawn is going to come through, leaving aBeZy alone. KiSMET gets 3 himself. So FaZe went in. They lost the gamble, but it basically goes back to even setting.
Good for Subliners. Can they? Oh, is it? Sim's playing with them still a little bit. Sim's found 2 on his own over towards A. A has not been confirmed yet. Other side of Subliners may well be now. But KiSMET already working on B, but aBeZy hasn't lost his hearing yet. Still just a young gun, and there you go. KiSMET dealt with. FaZe in control at B. A eventually goes towards Subliners, but it's still a job to do.
And now with 2 minutes on the clock, it's the same situation that FaZe had. There's a lot of time to play with here if you're New York, and you only need to win it once. KiSMET looking for where he knows Slasher is already. They're hunting him down all the way to the back, but HyDra, there's a long-range Vazner versus Slasher. Fortunately, the trade will come through.
Look at Skyz. Skyz has read this. Skyz has read this. Cellium's going to be killed on the flank there. He's trying to get a position over towards the bedroom side. Opportunity potentially on the cards here for Subliners, but aBeZy and Slasher, big kills. Oh my god.
And that's the issue with aBeZy. You think you're getting just something going your way, and out pops a 2-piece. They're being a problem. They're just a hard gunfight for New York in every position they're currently in. Already a minute burned off the clock as aBeZy finds another one. They're losing lives. KiSMET finds 1, but he knows there's still players hanging around in bedroom. And 4 players of New York are trying to break this, and they cannot get through.
I mean, I don't know how to tell you that Sim's just killed HyDra. I'm looking where he is. I presume Cellium was putting billets in over from the kitchen side. He will eventually be taken down. KiSMET. The big dog himself is going to be stomping around bedroom right now. Simp will hear this so clearly.
They found nothing. New York have been fighting for bedroom control for 1 minute 30 and have barely been able to take them out. KiSMET has found 1. And more FaZe players are entering bedroom as well. KiSMET will find the second though. He gets to the point. He stops it. Skyz finds 1 more. He finds a 3rd. Only aBeZy left.
And where is he? Surely, if you're Subliners, you know exactly where he is. But aBeZy not being overzealous here. He's taking his time. He knows he can just pick away. Him staying alive is just as bad as him finding kills. But Skyz deals with him here. Subliners have got a chance.
And they have to try and push through. HyDra's going to dive for it. He's going to get onto the point. He's getting through as well as Priestahh finds 1. Slasher throwing everyone he can. And Priestahh takes down HyDra. Flies out with a pistol. Slasher's gone for it. aBeZy's going to be here as well as he guns the last player down. And FaZe win. New York had so many issues just getting into bedroom and dealing with the tiny terrors and everything they kept putting in there. It wasn't clean, and there was a dream, but Atlanta FaZe walk away with the control.
And the last 2 times that these 2 teams have met, whoever's won the control has won this series. A big scalp for Atlanta FaZe to take that. And honestly, after Subliners defended so brilliantly in round number 1, they didn't have a sniff in the next 3. Just brilliant from FaZe every single time. The defense was solid. The attack was brilliant. And then again, the defense is just so hard to deal with those players in and around bedroom. Definitely feeling like they figured it out, but for Subliners, for being the best attacking team on the game, they didn't get a sniff there, Pricey. It never felt like they were going to win the attacking round. They maybe had a small iota of a chance in that final round, but the lives were just far, far too low by that stage. The time, pretty much non-existent for Subliners to try and find that final push. Atlanta FaZe just bled them dry, but very, very slowly.
Yeah, and like I said, it was summed up, you know, 4 of New York went towards bedroom, couldn't find control, had to watch their own flank in bedroom. And you even saw KiSMET, like, he basically had like a metal detector out trying to figure out where on earth these players were hiding. And every time you thought, hey, maybe New York have got the bodies here, they couldn't get a trade, the kill feed was all FaZe. It's one of the most frustrating things to deal with when you're playing control on the attack, is not being able to get out of bedroom. And then this was the opportunity. Priestahh finds a couple, but aBeZy hits the flank and hits them into the L. Well, interesting. This goes the way that a lot of statistics have said. It should be Atlanta FaZe to win this series by going to map number 5. That's how it's happened the last 2 times these teams have played. But I don't know, New York not having a good time on the control. Ton, are you there?
I'm back, mate. I don't know what's going on, honestly. Somebody just, I wonder if there's a small mammal just chewing on my cables outside. Who knows? But I'm back, and yeah, I mean, I presume you were just saying how good FaZe were in that previous map, and
yes.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, as long as there was nothing mean about me.
No, I would never say anything mean about you. That's just how I am. But obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about this upcoming hard point. The statistics say New York. They always say New York. We always say that we expect this to go map number 5, depending on who wins that control. But, Pan, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine, but I don't know about this map in particular. It's a really hard one to call. You would, looking at the stats that we have in terms of the matchup that we have seen between these 2 teams historically over Modern Warfare 2, every single hard point has went over towards Subliners. Every single search and destroy has went over towards FaZe. It's going to have to be that streak broken to a certain degree from Subliners if they're going to want to take this series here, because that search and destroy map number 5, even if you can force it, is a struggle. But the Brimrock Hotel, I mean, it is a very strange one. New York have lost, and I'm just reading out some stats, shout out to Tim. New York have lost 4 of their last 5 hotel hard points, but have all been extremely, extremely close. Those 4 losses over the last 5 are by only a combined 48 total points. It is going down to the wire every single time, and even the one that they won, they only won it by 4, a 250 to 246 victory. So they are pushing teams to the wire here. I feel like they'll need a clean one if they want any hope when it does come down to map number 5, which, by the way, will be Ellis Silo Search and Destroy as well. They need a clean victory to feel that, I want to say, momentum to head into a map number 5. If this is close, if you're really having to dig deep for this one, Atlanta FaZe will still be feeling abhorrently confident heading into map number 5, because why wouldn't they?
Well, we will see. We will see. Here's the records, here's the stats. Not a good look for Atlanta FaZe. A pretty good time, though, if you're a New York fan. Last in rotation, 7th in hold rank. FaZe are last in rotation in the CDL. Last! This team is last.
I mean, it's because they don't tend to rely on it, do they? It's when you're speaking of this map specifically as well.
Maybe they should.
Maybe they should, yes. But their break percentage is pretty decent, sitting at 5th overall, but it's not as good as New York's. The rotation, not as good as New York's. The hold percentage, not as good as New York's. Everything points towards a New York win. on this map. Will we see that map number 5, Bryce?
Looking for it in a moment. You can already see a bit of a push coming through, and that's all going to be New York in the kill feed. Every single kill. And points to benefit. And that is chaos spawns coming in from every corner of the map.
What was it? Bermuda Triangle? That Ultra call it? What was that?
That's a 4-pointer. That one is. Try and guess which direction they're coming from. It's every single one.
Where have they spawned? Yes. Here we are. HyDra now. Trying to get this rotation over towards P2, which is looking a bit more predictable from Subliners. Look at the hold here, though, from a beat. I love that hold of the angle, but HyDra is here to maybe clean it up. Slasher will deal with them. Final kill towards Skyz. Final fight towards Skyz. Nicely done. Subliners just about holding the P2 rotations. Where is Slasher spawning?
Well, I tell you one thing they need to figure out is KiSMET has figured it out himself and taking him down. Atlanta FaZe could have done with the rotation here because they are being locked out completely. Here comes the push. They're stacking all the way towards double desks. Can they get through? KiSMET staying alive. HyDra will find aBeZy before he can do anything. KiSMET backing up furiously. Cellium will find 2. And now KiSMET has to use the stairs to try and stop this flood coming through, but it's going to be Priestahh regardless. Atlanta FaZe, it looked good for them, but Priestahh is just cutting them down.
Oh, big win from KiSMET as well. And honestly, when you are FaZe, when you spawn that close over towards the bar side, it's so tempting just to be like, screw it, everybody through here, and see if we can break them down. It's not easy to do so, and now FaZe will spawn back over towards P2. It's a bit of a split of the map. Subliners in between the Atlanta FaZe players. Not a position you want to be in. And again, FaZe are spawning out. If New York know this, they will start to move, and because they've seen Cellium in the middle of the map, I'd imagine Subliners kicking the gear here now.
Yeah, they know they've already got one down with Simp. There's going to be a problem in here as well. Priestahh, though, gets it down. They're going to flood this player out. They're going to look for him, and while it will be Simp, he will fall. Cellium finds 2 more. Priestahh gets terrible timing
shot
and falls to aBeZy. HyDra last alive here for New York, but he is fighting against a flood of FaZe. And New York had that in the palm of their hands, but couldn't get it over the line.
It's been snatched away by Cell. It's really become the man that you don't want to run into when it comes down to kitchen. It doesn't matter. Tack, Vaz in hand, gunning everybody. Maybe that challenge was a bit over the top. He's thinking a montage, but aBeZy will clear that one up. Kitchen, lock it up. FaZe have got it. 15 seconds to go. We're heading over towards bar. FaZe haven't slowed down. Excuse me?
FaZe don't take one gunfight at a time. They're always looking for a 2-piece. And the score is tied as we go into this next hard point. If momentum's one thing, FaZe have looked like they have dialed their speed to 11. aBeZy keeps on moving, and he finds another kill. He shouldn't be finding these kills. aBeZy on a 7. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how he plays COD. The kills keep falling. And New York are just being battered. 7 for aBeZy, 5 for Simp.
I mean, the transition from kitchen all the way over towards bar was quite simply seamless, and it stayed that way all the way through. The kill feed is just red on the left-hand side, whichever way you look. And the transition is there again. Simp hasn't slowed down. It is a combined 3 trillion spree by the sounds of it. That's how it feels at this moment in time. Atlanta FaZe are bodying Subliners right now. I want to say this has been an uncontested 80 or 90 points because Subliners have just fallen off the map to FaZe here.
And finally, they get something. They are here first in the rotation, but waiting. In wait. Dead silence popped. aBeZy flies up, finds Priestahh as well. Gonna look for him. Knows HyDra's gonna be there. Of course, he wins the gunfight. The rest of the FaZe just rock in, saying, all right, we've got this. Time to reinforce.
And for Subliners, where do you start to regain here? Because that's been 2 hills in a row. You have been beaten around Hotel. I mean, Simp even challenging that is absurd. But here we go, Subliners find a breakthrough. 30 seconds remaining here, over towards the restaurant side. This 30 seconds gets you well and truly back into this game. It is only a 60-point game. This is not insurmountable for the side of Subliners by any stretch of the imagination. FaZe now. Got to make sure that they lock in. Yes, okay, it was a good spree, but it hasn't got you out of sight. Big plays from Priestahh. Subliners can now start to find their push through over towards the kitchen side. Glass is coming up in 10.
It's still, even with that craziness that FaZe have pulled off, it is not their hard point yet. They're in a position right now. New York need to find a way to break this. Will they go from both directions? You can already see Skyz. He's going to try to put pressure on towards Kitchen, but nobody in the hill at the moment.
They've got the pressure, but it's so difficult when you don't have that kitchen side, because you know there's always a player like Simp, like aBeZy, like Cellium over towards this backside, and it's just so difficult to deal with the gunfights from this angle. KiSMET and Priestahh falling. And now finding their way back over. You can already see Slasher setting himself up on that cross. Skyz will get gunned across there, but HyDra has somehow slipped the net over towards the backside. Now they're shooting his teammates. The gunfights come through. Now after all of that, it is Subliners who are going to walk away with this final 20 seconds. FaZe still challenging here, though.
They're going to go for it. They know going into P1, they might as well keep challenging platform for as long as possible. And a few more points go their way, but as we head into our second set of rotations, this game is still close. It's still just one hard point between these two teams. Skyz finds the player already coming through, and maybe they can get a few points off P1.
It's got to be the setup here for Subliners. They have reduced that gap quite handily as well. Killed over towards the kitchen, so aBeZy will start filtering his way through the restaurant side of the map to try and start flipping these spawns. KiSMET reading that so easily, but Cell behind over towards the couch's side can find one, can find two, and now this is where things maybe open up for FaZe.
There's a lot of time being done here by New York, and HyDra can try to find it. That's a long-range bad shot. Will fall to Slasher in the end. But it has been a battle between these two. New York will continue to have to put at least some pressure here on the P1. KiSMET looking for Cellium. Cellium still alive. Shot with a knife! Not going to get it. But that is scrap time. They needed to rebuff here, but it will be Atlanta FaZe on this rotation. They actually have it first time.
Big fights here coming up through the front door as KiSMET, he gets dealt with, and over towards the backside. HyDra will find the kill. Spawns, though, crucially for New York, not where they want them to be. The reinforcements are on their way, but HyDra still towards the backside. The pinch is what has to work here for Subliners. FaZe are within touching distance of 200 points.
Well, HyDra's just trying to play his life the entire time. Not going to work out for him. KiSMET laying down, not going to find the two-piece either. There is so much time here for FaZe. New York will have to restack and re-attack from all the angles. You can already see them stacking for as well. HyDra will find one towards desks. Slasher's laying down. He knows this push is coming. And HyDra will win it regardless. HyDra again! HyDra just bounces into the point. He's just taking them out of it.
How on earth?
A bouncy HyDra is taking FaZe down.
FaZe will, fortunately for them, have that rotation over towards P3. It's just too easy for HyDra to find those kills, but he's lighting up at the right time. Subliners finding someone transition, and that's going to be a spawn out for FaZe. They start to sit in their map waiting for the kills to fall their way. You don't win the gunfights, you don't get the benefit of the spawn. You may well get a couple of seconds over towards Old, but you need to lock down Kitchen like you did last time. Can Cellium go big again?
Here we go, they have the numbers here. New York, they're going to get the first kill as well. Slasher's going to get nothing, and down he falls. New York are in, and Skyz will get another one. This is New York now. They're into the point. They've broken it. They get this one. They fly back into it. But aBeZy finds one. What? aBeZy! No! That shouldn't be legal. It should be outlawed by the CDL, but Priestahh finds three. Cellium will get the trade. And now FaZe are in again with a spawn as Cellium finds another. And Skyz will get back into it as well. aBeZy was going to fly in. He finds Skyz with another trade coming through in the kitchen. It's chaos in here.
This usually is the money hill, but it's just the broke hill right now. Teams after each other every single time. Finding these huge breaks, it's good information for Cellium because we've got to talk about this rotation. Subliners have kept that distance all the way through. FaZe crucially still in the lead. Gunfight's going over towards Bar. Cellium momentarily all alone here will get dealt with. It's scrap time, it's rotation, it is Subliners. They're around 20 points away from tying this one up. Can't quite win it here. FaZe of course can.
New York have fought like lions back into this. And now they're in control. Slowly but surely, the tide is turning. Atlanta FaZe cannot get close. This is a hard hill to break at the best of the time. And Skyz on stairs will fall to aBeZy. The rest of the players trying to pile through. Priestahh goes out for the chow. Looks for it as well. Slasher and HyDra and KiSMET are just fighting into this point as well. KiSMET gets his second. Looks for Slasher on his third as nobody's in the point for it. KiSMET on a 5. And Priestahh comes back as well, and it's going to be New York to take the lead. We're off to restaurant.
We're heading over towards what could be the final hill, and for the first time, New York Subliners will take the lead. The spawns are not there from FaZe either. This needs to be huge plays from Simp. He will be able to find one. Slasher and Co actually managed to find a few kills over towards Old. That scrap time goes to FaZe. The kills in the middle of the map go towards New York, though. FaZe should be spawning over towards the kitchen side, but here comes the cruise.
They don't have the bodies for this one as well. They're going to challenge. Priestahh finds the first. This is going to come rocketing in already, and it gets taken down. New York are going to be in. They have the opportunity to lock this one as well, but Slasher finds a two-piece. KiSMET goes for the chow. The nade's going to come through. They're going to challenge him. Simp flying through at the same time. HyDra's going to be into the point. Both teams are stacking this with everybody they have, as Skyz finds two. Skyz finds three. HyDra is still alive. KiSMET is here, and FaZe are outdone.
10 seconds to go, but Subliners know exactly where FaZe are spawning. Can you lock down the kitchen once more? It's been a hell of a comeback, but here come FaZe.
I think Simp's watching the flank, but he actually hasn't seen it as HyDra just works every single angle that he can, and New York have made the comeback. They will not fall. The songs are still the same. It's hard point for New York. Can it be S&D for FaZe? We are going to a map number 5.
And it just felt like the impossible task for Subliners with the way that FaZe came out in that first rotation. It was P2 to 3 to 4 from FaZe, and it felt like they were unkillable. But Subliners turned it on some way, somehow, at some point in that game. And when they did not look back. FaZe were just getting that lead slowly clawed away. Subliners do brilliantly to bring that back, and it's the transition from bar to restaurant that works out so well. They kill them on the way back. FaZe then start spawning towards old as the restaurant then pops up, and HyDra and Skyz go huge for the Subliners to force that map number 5.
And you have to give credit there to New York. There was a period in the middle of that game where FaZe looked unstoppable, but they weren't going to let them have it. Priestahh, unbelievable plays there in the end. But will this be a change of fortune, Ton? Every time these two teams play, it's hard point for New York. It's S&D for FaZe. Whoever wins the control wins the series. It is unreal. But before we find out how this one ends, we of course have to go to a break. But before we do, it's more Spylights. We have another one for you. Get your guessing hat on. Try and figure this one out yourselves. Of course, we need you to guess who that pro is. Spylights is a new segment by our presenting sponsor, Citadel, on Prime Video. Here's the statistics. Here is your silhouette. Get your thinking cap on, and we'll see you right after the break.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by the new series Citadel, premiering on April 28th, only on Prime Video.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We're here with Atlanta FaZe versus New York Subliners, but we gave you a puzzle before we went away to the break. Of course, it's Spotlights, our new segment by our presenting sponsor Citadel on Prime Video. Ton, here are the stats.
This one was a little bit harder. Grand finals in each of his first three CDL years. Team with two of the greatest players of all time. That's obviously not necessarily a stat, more of a subjective fact, but has been on the same pro team since his debut is the French phenom himself, HyDra. I didn't think that one was too bad. Wasn't as easy as the slasher one.
You know what the problem is that week in, week out, we look at obviously these players on the screen, so their silhouettes are actually really recognizable to us. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked that. That was Spotlights, a new segment for the CDL by our presenting sponsor. It is, of course, Citadel on Prime Video. But we have a map number 5 winging its way towards us. New York and Atlanta FaZe have fought to the bitter end. Statistically, this has always gone the way of the team that's won the control. Mainly because Atlanta FaZe are so good in S&D versus New York, but what do you think, Tom?
I think that you're probably right in that statement. This map in particular, New York 3-2, Atlanta 12-3, as we highlight two of the players who have really set this series alight and made it so entertaining. KiSMET and aBeZy have been fire for both their squads so far, but New York Subliners are going to need KiSMET to just be, well, transcendent at this stage. Because this map in particular, it was 9 in a row before they lost it to Ultra. Can they find something here? HyDra finding that first blood would have went a long way. First bloods for Atlanta FaZe on this map are just so strong. They use them so well, and they find them very much all of the time.
It's normally aBeZy, or it is a little bit of wall banging going through. KiSMET's going to be at the top here. 4v4, bomb down. That stun's going to hit KiSMET and not open the door. Oh, stun yourself. Give yourself the mental advantage as he flies through. Cellium will still find out still alive and will eventually fall. Down to a 3 versus 3 ton.
A lot of work to do here still, though. aBeZy very, very weak. You're going to have to start moving if you're subliners. You've got him tagged up. You've got to try and get him whilst he's weak. And here he goes. He pushes out of the corner. HyDra for the trade. Simp with one. Skyz with another slasher with the final. The trades work out in FaZe's favor. Not much that subliners could do about that one. Nicely done from FaZe. Slasher just chilling towards the back of the map. He's there to pick up the pieces. Well played from FaZe.
Talk about the fact aBeZy got a kill there, or that's outrageous. He had 9 health and they knew where he was.
Yeah, I think it was just the force of the issue, wasn't it? The grenade comes in, it's like, oh, okay, he's dead. No, he's flying at us. Going down, swinging. Most first bloods this time around in round number 1, going over towards the side of FaZe. Atlanta are the number 1 team in first bloods at 57%. At second is New York at 53%. It's a decent lead in that first blood percentages, Pricey. It's always the case when we talk about FaZe and talk about this map.
Yeah, also, just a little stat that's been dropped in our lap. New York are 1 in 10 in rounds when HyDra sniped, and that's actually something we've called out before. I don't ever believe HyDra should have a sniper, not because I don't think he's a good sniper, but because I think he's just worth more on the map with a Vaznev. But the statistics back me up.
Shout out to him for that one. Now 1 in 10, was 1 in 9 beforehand. Cellium, though, the transition over towards B. Can he do anything with the sniper? Typically very strong for the Atlanta FaZe side, but New York said, yeah, okay, bet. Fly towards him. Slasher will find 1 over from the A side of the map. That bomber is now down, but the numbers belong to FaZe.
Or made him a bit weak, and they're trying to figure out, are both players heroes? One on the flank. I think they now know where they both are, but KiSMET will find 2, and it all pays out for New York. Atlanta FaZe had the opportunity to pin them in, but they found nothing.
A look at confusion on the face of FaZe. 50% of the time they're finding these retakes. They didn't even find a gunfight there. Well played, especially from KiSMET. Just because of, well, maybe a bit of fortunate timing. And FaZe maybe not quite strong enough on the communication in that scenario. Subliners will happily take that one. Walk away into round number 3. Things tied up. Keep this up if you're subliners. Long way to go.
There they go. Door's already open for HyDra. He does have a dead silence, but he has been stun checked. The rest of FaZe are stacking deep inside the building, and HyDra will back off.
New York happy to maybe play the retake? Are they potentially envisioning a B push coming through? A lot still on the table in this round. FaZe starting to make their moves over towards the A side though. Priestahh watching the outside of the map. He may well get caught here. Shots going to start going in over towards the back side. Slasher will have to back down. That may well just kick New York into gear now.
And they're trying to get through this one. Priestahh with the dead silence pop, just trying to get this map control, trying to tell his teammates where they're not. Time slowly ticking, and New York look to close this in, but already Slasher finds Skyz. Priestahh's looking for him, the jump out towards the back. Does get it, but so much time burnt for so little reward. 2 versus 3 here for New York.
And that's the problem. They see Slasher towards the back. They know he was the one to find that final kill. If he's back there, he's got the time to try and find the kill onto that final player. 15 seconds to go. 2v2.
Waiting for it, and HyDra finds it as well. Simp just needs to stay alive for 7 seconds, and he's just going to find both kills as well. A 1 versus 2. And that is the issue with time burning away. They had to rush in. They had to be aggressive. Look at this one. Nobody ready for the gunfight.
Oh, you know, if HyDra pops his head round that corner just 0.1 second earlier, Simp starts firing there, may well find HyDra, but the trade probably would have been there. Timing working out well for Simp. It always feels like it just works out well for Atlanta FaZe on this map. Apart from when they played Toronto Ultra, they were the one that broke the 9 straight spree on a CeeLo for Atlanta FaZe in Search and Destroy. Can it continue here? Tell you what, a 10 out of 11 isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination.
New York waiting to see if anybody moves a little bit crazy. And speaking of crazy, KiSMET is going around looking for players. He looks the right direction. He could find somebody, Ton.
FaZe are not giving anything up here, though. I think Slasher is probably the one in the most danger. Tried to make the move with the dead silence around the outside of the map. Skyz tagged them up. He had to back down. KiSMET, yep, spots him. There you go. Slasher should be dealt with, and KiSMET will get away. And that's just a constant thorn in the side now of FaZe. They have to deal with where KiSMET is. They have to continue to hold their defensive side of things on this round. Priestahh lingering around. He sees him. He hears him. He kills him. aBeZy dealt with 4v2 in Subliner's favor.
They've got to go for this one as well, though. Simp gets a kill, gets alive! Surely not the second. He won't. It would have been huge if he had made it, but Skyz will eventually fall, and now Cellium knows that player's going to be in there as well. And I think he's been seeing it. He has been, and Cellium cannot wiggle his way out of it. New York get the point on the board. It's a slow round from them, but it's a W regardless.
Be more than happy to take that away, and it's KiSMET who really is the one who pulls the strings, if you like, in that Search and Destroy round. Finds himself up top, and as soon as he gets the call out, because Slasher actually made a dead silence play, gets aggressive down the right-hand side of the map to maybe just get a little bit of control, push themselves up, get some information, gets the information, and gets a couple of bullets alongside of it, so Skyz knows where he is. KiSMET in that prime position. Can then get around behind and find the easy kill, and that opens up the floodgates. Subliners, good job. Aggression here from aBeZy down the B side. He's going to meet HyDra here in just a little second. Did he see him? Did he hear it?
I'm just going to try and get away now. That sun will allow him to do so. Desperately. Even with, I mean, just that's aBeZy, of course. He chows that. One of the hardest gunfights to make in this game. HyDra, though, deep into enemy territory. Sneaky, sneaky. Trying. There's aBeZy. Does HyDra pick correctly? He's going to see him as well, and he does get it. The patience pays. And now FaZe with no map control have a man down.
And now they've got to be worried about HyDra. They've got to be worried about that position. In the back of your mind, you're always thinking HyDra is going to be flanking. The gunfight for Priestahh is going to be simple. Is the second going to be there? Not quite. Cellium can clean that up. KiSMET doesn't move an inch.
Dashy for a 1 versus 3, but just not a lot of time to do it. He's hit the dead silence. Careful to not bang any doors as he goes through. Even not going to bang that one either. He's going all the way around so he can get this plan off. They're going to know something's up, though. They're going to slowly but surely get here. You can see it already. They're going for the chow. He tries to get away. He won't win the gunfight. Skyz takes him down. It's an easy cleanup, Ton.
Yeah, nicely done. Sublime is very much in this Search and Destroy. And honestly, it just comes down to the kill from Priestahh. Big dead silence play. Slasher not able to find much in this one, and he has really been a staple for FaZe. He's been one of the players who stays alive towards the end of these rounds. He's been the one cleaning up these kills. Can't get much going in that round in particular. Always tends to play on an island, but Subliners are dealing with a lot of what has been thrown at them by FaZe so far. Still a while to go, but a lead for Subliners in this search and destroy. Be a hell of a time to break that S&D streak that FaZe have been running on New York Subliners in this game in map number 5.
Yeah, it's kind of been their unbreakable thing, right? Out of FaZe, win the S&D. That's why they've been so good recently, but if they walk into major number 4 straight away in the qualifiers, they lose an S&D. Well, it kind of changes how we think about this entire split.
I'd have to believe that would be 2 in a row on LSELO. Oh no, sorry, it would actually be, well, 2 out of the last 3. In terms of losses, if they do go on to lose this one. Obviously losing it to Toronto, then beating Texas before losing the series. Tough times for Atlanta FaZe still. 3 versus 2 now for Subliners. They've got such a good chance here, Bryce.
They do. They keep losing players, though, every time they get that number advantage. Cellium and Slasher versus Priestahh and Skyz. But New York making a move into the bomb site now with 40 seconds left to go. This could be a tipping point. Will New York go 4-2 or tie the series up? With bomb down, it's heavy advantage now to New York.
The retake percentage, though, for FaZe. Better than anyone else on this map. The statistics on this map will just be above and beyond everybody else in the CDL because they're so goddamn good at it. They're going to need to be at their very best here. Priestahh just playing their time. 20 seconds to go. Subliners haven't blinked yet. FaZe haven't found anything, but they can find the first onto Skyz. Now the predictability of Priestahh's position is just going to be so easy to think about. But the problem is for FaZe, time is not on their side, but neither's the angle for Priestahh. He can't get there, and the defuse is in from Slasher. How on earth did they won that?
And I thought New York did such a good job. They held away from the bomb site for so long. But Slasher stretched it enough, and Priestahh acting like Batman coming out of the rafters. But it was going to be no good in the end. That was planted for top. They played around it. And Atlanta FaZe, with that time left, shouldn't have been able to do that.
It always just seems to be the way, though, doesn't it? Through thick and thin, through come hell or high water. I mean, FaZe just seem to pull search and destroy rounds out of nothing. Now can they continue with that? Again, though, in the first search and destroy, Subliners were in a good position until FaZe just absolutely ran through them the final 4 or 5 rounds. Let's see if that's going to be the case here on LSELO and map 5.
And with bomb down, New York last time, they spread around the map and took the angles. Can they do the same this time? KiSMET are already challenging and taking him down. aBeZy's going to pop dead silence, but he isn't actually going to move very far.
Oh, gets a bit about a timer, but now that site is in complete control for Subliners here. Cellium's going to do something about it, gets him off it.
He's done just enough for a second. This is the same scenario. They want to go for it. Skyz is going to get in the same position that Slasher was in, and Slasher has to go for it. I don't think they got it. I think FaZe were just in time. And players are learning to stretch that so well. They did get it. There's the final kill. Just round the corner and get Skyz before he can do anything.
Yep, made sure he hits the head. Needed to kill him quickly, that. And for all that, FaZe will now find themselves in the lead. That picture you're seeing on your screens does not look like the comfortable, the easygoing FaZe in terms of search and destroy, which has often been the way against every single team in the CDL so far this season. 4-3 up, though. We'll still be feeling good about their chances. That big B hit coming in from Subliners, but Cellium is here to get that information. And maybe a little bit more.
Now, this is a bit of a waiting game. The pressure is on the outside here for New York, and FaZe have the bodies forward as Cellium shows us what snaking should look like from a professional. 5 streak himself, but oh, there's a little bit of a nade just tickled his cranium. And there's 2 kills already gone down. Slasher will get one back with the nade, but FaZe, while they were holding strong, have fallen.
Important for Slasher to find that. Cellium though, dead silence, Nelly ready and waiting. Skyz is gonna see him though, he's gonna hear him as well. And Subliners now in a brilliant, brilliant position to tie it up at 4-4. Slasher's gonna pull something out of a hat here.
Here he goes, not even gonna win the first gunfight, Ton. Down to a 4-4 with these 2 teams. You've got to say, New York finding those first 2 kills were huge for them. They played it so slowly. But hey, when they took that control away from FaZe, they managed to tie this series up, and it's starting to smell a little bit like a round 11.
Absolutely reeks of it. But it always smells so good, Brycey. Round 11, give it to me now. Subliners have been very, very strong here. Atlanta FaZe found a few rounds in a row, but Subliners stopped the bleeding. Attack now for FaZe. It's been an uncharacteristically poor game for Atlanta FaZe in terms of first bloods, in terms of aBeZy being the one who typically does find them. It's another one for Subliners. Cellium will answer back 3v3.
Priestahh just holding this push. They can't really go forward. They've got HyDra with them as well. HyDra might try and hit a flank here. In fact, Priestahh is going to be doing the same thing. Control of the middle of the map here for Atlanta FaZe, and you can see they're probably going to go for this. Skyz popping his deady. The rest of the team will swing into action off the back of this. Cellium already finds HyDra on the flank, but that's only going to be one of them. There's Skyz. He gets it down to a 2 versus 2.
aBeZy will find one though. Now Priestahh left all alone. Dead silence is popped, but he's got so much to do. 35 seconds to go. He's going to find the timing, or is he aBeZy? It's never a 50-50 gunfight, let's be honest. Must have heard him just jumping over the top. Finds the kill. Yeah, he hears him. Just about. Gets the shots in. He is not far away from dying, which would have set up a 1 versus 1 with Simp for Priestahh. Still a difficult task, but FaZe now 1 round away from taking this away into map number 5.
I think one of the key things to note as well, I think aBeZy had his dead silence still alive, ready for him. He does. He does have it. This has not been the greatest map we've seen from him so far. But hey, maybe this is time to shine. There it goes. There goes the dead silence. Does he try and make a move off the back of this? Oh, there are so many players here. So many players here, but it's an aBeZy pop, and he finds a kill. Regardless, HyDra found 2! None of that made any sense. But advantage for New York.
KiSMET. Yes, he's ready and waiting. Cellium will be the next to fall. Slasher's the only thing standing between us and everybody else. And a 1 versus 3 is needed to find that round 11.
I don't know if Slasher has this. Can he dig out New York, who are stacked deep? As soon as they see him, that door will bang over and KiSMET will come flying out. He looks for it as well, finds one, but cannot shoot 2 directions at once. It's a round 11. Oh my god.
Of course, Slasher trying to stop the round 11 from coming through. It was always going to be difficult. But here we are. Map 5. Round 11. New York against FaZe, and I don't know how we're here, honestly. FaZe have not looked themselves on this map today. Subliners have chipped away where they can. HyDra finds 2 huge kills in that round so quickly as FaZe got aggressive. Here we go.
aBeZy with no dead silence. And many times New York have given up this A site. They're doing the same thing again. This time they are going to be stacked on the outside. Simp going to chat it. Door goes banged open. And he's cleared it. They're going to go for this plant again.
They go for the plant, but aBeZy needs to stay alive. I can't tell if he's up top or if he's down low, but Subliners are making the play for top green. The bomb is down. It's a 4 versus 4. Gunfight starting to ensue.
aBeZy has control of the bar. KiSMET finds Simp though. He's let him through. Advantage for them. KiSMET gets a second as well. They found the kills they need. Skyz going to get it. Slasher now for a 1 versus 4. And the reign of New York over Atlanta FaZe begins. They have fallen in the S&D. They have taken them out of it, and that is huge for New York.
Atlanta FaZe are starting to bleed in Search and Destroy. And if you can't win a hard point, things are going to start spiraling like this. It is a wonderful performance from Subliners. I'd love to see the first bloods because it's something we've talked about so often. We talk about FaZe, we think about Search and Destroy, we think about first bloods. Somebody in their team who's so good at finding them in aBeZy only finds the one more leaning, just about, over towards the side of Subliners, and I believe it is actually, yeah, it's the 6-5 in terms of first bloods to Subliners, and that's what counts. If FaZe can't find the first bloods, they look as good as everybody else at Search and Destroy. They couldn't find them there, and Subliners punished them for it.
I also got to say, that last round from Atlanta FaZe, they just weren't in a trading position. 4v4 and nobody was in a position to trade.
It looked very tentative, didn't it?
Yeah, Simp got caught out because KiSMET managed to get through and just gunned him straight off the site. In fact, KiSMET got the second as well. The rest of the team were just not in any position. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and they, I think, weren't setting up for top green because they know New York had been hitting that so hard. So they didn't want to put themselves in that position again, because if you lose top green, you've got the bomb down in that position. It's a perfect place you want to be in if you are FaZe when you got that bomb down. You don't set up for it, but New York don't set up for themselves. They go down low. 2 kills from KiSMET, absolutely huge. And well, 3-2 was something that I think a lot of people would have thought would have been the score in this series. I don't think many of them would have lent over towards the Subliners side. Search and Destroy, for all it has been strong for FaZe, starting to falter a little bit. I wonder if teams are starting to catch on exactly what they do.
Well, we'll have to figure out how that's all gone down, but fortunately we have a team of experts waiting in the wings. It's over to our desk to break down the game we just saw.
Subliners, what is good? We come back and online and we walk away with a 3-2 victory. A round 11, and that was back-to-back comebacks in games 4 and 5. This should have been Atlanta FaZe in game 4 in my eyes.
No, I completely agree with you, and it's that whole tangent I went on about Atlanta FaZe, and their hard point has been their biggest struggle and the reason they aren't as dominant as a team as we think they should be heading into this year.
And we got to talk about the Subliner crew, though. It wasn't just KiSMET in that final round 11. This was a team that worked together throughout this series. A lot of hate after their 9-12 finish, losing to Florida. Now we see them coming in and beating one of the top 3 teams, a tier 1 squad in everyone's books. How'd they play tonight?
Yeah, you know, this is why I had to go in game 5, right? I had New York going far in the last major as well. I just think this is a very solid squad that, you know, they had a lot of excuses that they could cling on to, but it seems like they put in a lot of work. When we talk about this game 5 that you're seeing highlights from, some beautiful plays, like aBeZy's the guy who's always getting first bloods. There's a couple rounds where we saw Priestahh sitting in spawn, waiting for aBeZy to just hit the corner. Blooded him 2 or 3 times in that fashion. We see them playing over towards field side of the map, throwing the stuns and nades, just pressuring Cellium, not allowing him to get pushed up to make those plays and make an impact. Just beautifully well played, well prepared out of the New York Subliners in a series that most people had FaZe winning.
I completely agree, and I think the real star for me during the series was actually Priestahh. I think he matches up very well every time New York goes up against Atlanta FaZe. Even last time they went up, he had a 1.35 overall, so he showed up again in this series, especially in those respawns. He dropped back-to-back 30 bombs in those maps, number 1 and number 4, and that's what you need from him, especially because we weren't seeing what we usually saw with Skyz earlier in the series when he usually matches up against Cellium.
You can see the frustration as Slasher turns the camera down. FaZe handed a loss as Subliners will earn another 10 points towards their season total. Talking about the Subliners, though, I looked at some of the numbers there. HyDra finished on a 3 streak. KiSMET finished on a 4 streak. 7 kills in the final 2 rounds from those 2 players popping off at the end when they needed it.
Yeah, I mean, your SMGs are making plays. We saw in that last round, like, they decided to straight up give up A-bomb. Just let them plant it. They hit over towards courtyard, and they just make plays and get the kills. Like, you know where they're going to be at and be playing those corners. You know, aBeZy's going to be bottom pool somewhere. And they made the plays. Also, you know, we saw Slasher put the camera down. He did have himself a very tough series, so be looking at him to bounce back.
We knew this could be one of the best series, and it went the distance all the way to a round 11, and it's the Subliners with the W. But who earns our scuff play of the game? It's time to find out. Nameless, walk me through this one as we take a look at some of the New York boys in a little bit of hard point.
Yeah, this was the end of that hard point. I feel like we've seen so many New York Subliners hard points come down to the diner here, but they applied a lot of pressure early off the rotation. We saw KiSMET go through Khan. He finds a big kill, and then he ends up challenging over towards Cat Room, and from then on out, it's just trades back and forth. The team is there, they're coming through Globe, and they're just winning the big gunfights. HyDra's up close and personal. Skyz pops a 3-piece, and FaZe are on the back foot, and a map that they had the advantage on, mind you.
Yeah, map they had the advantage on, and it's one of those situations where in New York, I remember one time they came back on hotel and we were talking to them afterwards. I believe it was against Toronto, and it was just like, yeah, you know, you just got to read the spawns a little bit better, and they definitely read the spawns there in that back kitchen side. I mean, Atlanta FaZe, there was only so many areas they could go.
New York bests Atlanta as it's now 2-2, I believe, according to my count on this series. And that rivalry will continue throughout this season. Right now, though, we got to talk with Priestahh from the Subliners. He's joining us live. And Priestahh, what a series from you. What was it like playing against FaZe tonight?
Hold on, I'm doing an interview. Hold on. What did you say? What was it like playing against FaZe Clan? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Yeah, what was it like playing against FaZe tonight? Was there any extra pressure after your struggles in Texas?
I want to say extra pressure. We just started putting more work in our preparation for matches, and just like making sure our practice has been better than it was before. I think those were the main things going into even just the stage in general.
Priestahh, I have to ask, like, what is it with you and dropping these huge numbers against Atlanta FaZe? Is it just like an old seated vengeance from when you used to be a part of that camp?
I don't think it's a vengeance. It's just like my pacing kind of matches well against them sometimes. So I think that's just kind of why against them I play well.
Preston, I want to ask you, about your guys' season. You guys have been a hot topic, on a lot of the talk shows and stuff like that about where does New York stand. When I looked at you guys, I thought that maybe like you put a little bit too much focus on search and destroy, and the respawn sort of tapered off, and it's just a bit of a part of the process. In your eyes, what has been the issue with you guys over the last 2 months or so?
I would say, I mean, our S&D was lacking. Like our hardpoint, it's like kind of been back and forth between hardpoint being lackluster and our S&D. So we just kind of been trying to just prep for everything and make sure we're not like losing how good we are at one game mode compared to the other. But our S&D, I feel like we were really good at in stage 1, and then we kind of just started overthinking situations like man advantage rounds, and even today, like we lost a few man advantage rounds, and that's like the main focus for S&D, and we still can't get it down. So that's just kind of what we have to focus on.
I'm glad to see that this series still went the distance between you and Atlanta FaZe, because you guys match up very well, even though you've been struggling recently. I wanted to know, was those struggles reflected in your scrims, or was it something that kind of didn't reflect when you guys would head into these qualifying matches in these majors? Like, was this like a precedented struggle for you guys, or was it kind of catching you by surprise when you'd come and play your official matches?
No, I mean, in scrims, we definitely were struggling a bit. There was definitely days where we would be playing really well, but there's like multiple days where we have one really good scrim and then one really bad scrim, so it wasn't like consistent throughout. And there was even days like in stage 2 where we had really bad scrims, but we'd go into our match and we played really good. So we weren't like, it was like weird. Like we would go harder, like we're playing our lives more, like we're just not over challenging. So we're just trying to basically play the way we do in practice, we do in matches.
Priestahh, last question for you. Are you ready to play on Expo?
We thought about it today, but FaZe actually banned it against us, but I don't think we would have let it gone through either way. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to play it.
Excited for the new map, and we're excited to see the Subliners later this week. And thanks again, and congratulations on your win tonight.
Thank you, appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
That's Priestahh. Make sure you're following the man, and make sure you're tuning into the Subliners for their next matchup, because the Subliners are challenging for top 3. Let's take a look at our standings and where we're at right now on the season, because we're past the halfway point. We're in the second half of the year, and you can see the Subliners just 5 points now behind OpTic after tonight's win.
I think this was a huge win for New York Subliners, again, because we're talking about their struggles. There's one of those teams who are in those top 8, but there are a lot of teams trying to get better on that right side that have to maybe steal their spot. So a huge win for them starting off in this qualifier.
And of course, you got Vegas there at the 9th spot. And what else are you seeing here?
Well, I was just going to say, like, that's a big win against a top team for New York, right? When you talk about winners bracket and having a good online performance. Also, this changes the way we look at this stage for Atlanta FaZe. Like, I thought they were, go back, fix a lot of their issues when it came to the hard point, at least be 50-50 in that game mode. But, like, they didn't even win their map pick in the series. You got to win that embassy. So, got to work on some things still.
I don't think they had that bad of a night. I think New York's a great
pretty
team,
good,
and
yeah.
maybe they didn't bring their A game, but don't count
Expect
out
to win the
FaZe. This is a
matches,
squad that only places top 3. For now, though, we got to focus on a squad that is on the come up. This is our Hummer extract mode, where the Legion pull out all of the stops to get the win in hardpoint. Let's take a look at one of the best moments on the day. Nameless, what was going through your mind when you saw this?
I just want to listen to them and hear what they had to say, because my mind, I was just going crazy.
All right, here's the comms. It's their Hummer extract mode from Vegas Legion.
Cannon, I got two.
Nice, let's bully front.
Go behind the stage. We just gotta nade this.
We got 5 seconds. We gotta go.
Low P4, weak. P4, weak. P4, side door,
On the stage, one shot. One shot, beans. Push. Nice.
I need your push.
He was weak.
One shot.
Nice. I have single pinch. I have pinch.
I'm looking side.
You got
I'm in the back.
One shot. Go.
Who was that?
That was Donnie. It's Don.
Temp going to Twitter saying this is the first time I was carried in 3 years.
Yo,
Thank
right?
you, fam.
Yo, wasn't that like a little sort like it was intense, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like as intense as you would expect it to be. And it's because of what somebody called it out earlier in the map in the listening. They were like, stay calm.
Yeah, somebody was like telling them to calm down, but I think like what really makes that so like calm as well is that the fact that TJ wasn't over-chow. Like I think that it's usually a player that when we're watching him, TJ kind of happens to over-chow a couple of times, but he was just hanging in that corner. You could hear in the comms, stay on, I have your push. And so the fact that he played his life so well there, and obviously the following 2-piece nade from Standy, it was good looks.
As you take a look at some of these highlights, these are the final moments from that hard point. You saw the 249, 250 finish. Search and destroy. How did the Legion look in this game mode tonight?
They always look good in Search and Destroy. This is a team that was considered one of the best Search and Destroy teams in the game at some point, and that was kind of like their netted mode that you could always guarantee they at least win one in the best of 5. But when it comes to them, I was a little bit worried when they plugged in Standy, if that would affect their Search and Destroy, because it's been looking a little bit rocky heading into later bits of the stage, but it looked really solid today.
Yeah, I mean, Standy is a great search player. I mean, he was on a lot of previous iterations of that Minnesota team. And then also on Toronto, a good search and destroy player. So he fit in like a glove. They look great there. And they get a big win in what was pretty comfortable, honestly, after game 1.
Yeah, Boston's only victory coming from Control on Expo, the new map. The most comfortable victory, though, was the landslide from Los Angeles Thieves. They trounced the Royal Ravens. And Ulysses, well, Yui did not have a warm welcome to the league today going up against one of the best.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to judge him off of that series. Like, he's getting plugged into a pretty broken system of a team that really just, it's heavily based on the individual performance if they're going to play well. I mean, they make so many mistakes. We even saw it when they were playing at like their peak individual level at the last major. They still made a ton of mistakes against OpTic. So for London, just so much to work on, man. And I'm hoping Ulysses can get something going.
I think one of the worst things for me when it comes to London Royal Ravens, they were finally looking like something was getting put together, right? Like right at the tail end of Major IV Qualifiers, we were like, they're trying new things. They're starting to work out for them a little bit. It's not the greatest showing, but at least they're having a step in the right direction. And then suddenly another roster change happens. And then you open up your next stage with this big loss to the LA Thieves. Granted, it is the LA Thieves, one of our championship caliber teams, but not a great opening with that new start.
They get tomorrow off, though, so they can look at the VODs and Royal Ravens. I expect you to come out swinging on Sunday, but as we take a look at our Super Saturday, 4 matches. The one that catches my eye most importantly at the bottom of your screen, it's going to be Surge versus Thieves, but so many good battles here, Allie. You're throwing your hands up. Double Røkkr for Saturday.
I mean, that'll be a banger. They're doing their little home series watch party over there in the Minnesota Røkkr camp, so make sure you show up and show out. You got the 2 purple teams in the LA Guerrillas going up against Minnesota Røkkr, and also the Florida Mutineers, who have been finding a little bit of success lately.
I'm just excited to see Beans versus Scrap. First of all, Beans got to bounce back. Also, Scrap went home and finally started talking trash again, so he's got a target on his back.
The trash is coming back. We're going to have it in the winning circle if Toronto gets the dub tomorrow. I guarantee it. Also, tomorrow, we could feature your play. If you've got a ranked play you think the world deserves to see, I need to see your hashtags on Twitter right now. Hashtag CDL Ranked Plays and link your best to be featured right here on the show. I have to think about day 1 here in say, boy, it feels good to be back watching
Yeah.
Call of Duty once
back.
again. That hard point, definitely the game I'm going to remember as I go to bed.
Oh, yeah.
Allie, what about you? What was your takeaway from day one?
I'm gonna remember every match except number 2 because I've already forgot.
There you go. Nameless?
Listen, Kenny's donut for the win. That is
okay.
epic. He's a GOAT for that.
All right, Nameless, it's time to feast, my friend. That means
sir.
the show is done. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow. We're kicking off 15 minutes before the matches. We'll see you then, 2:45 Eastern, right here, twitch.tv/Call of Duty.
Closer than it appears, trying to take it to another tier. Prime time, yeah, my moment is here, yeah. I ride the nation for my title, do what I must for survival. By any means, yeah, I know, I can't stop, I won't fold. Might bend the rules just to break the mold. Hella high water, calm and compose. Life will get messy, but I reach the goal. Climb the totem pole, be the protocol. Yes, I had it in me after all. After penny falls and a lot of false things I can't control. My intentions come from years of rejections. Learn many a lesson, I'm progressing. Turning burdens to blessings, turning burdens to blessings. I'm in it for the long run. I'm a problem to my problems. Fighting through the tears, fighting in my fears. See my past in the mirror. Closer than it appears. Trying to take it to another tier. Prime time, yeah, my moment is here. Yeah, get a spotlight and it feels right. Never been scared to take it to new heights. I always dare to dream and dare to see the chance to be a better me and everything. The possibilities are endless. Odds against this tremendous. Check this, I just check fear off my checklist. You must have forgot, boy, I'm relentless.
Watch out, beans.
Go on, one shot.